Welcome back to Soft Hands Garage. We're going to get electric on this one. It's time to get some power set up so we can actually get juice to the starter and to the coil, spark plugs, the whole thing. We got to do all that. That's going to be the primary focus on this one. We're really close to getting this thing started. Oh, and obviously, per the opening video, we went to the duct tape drags. I'm just gonna sprinkle in a drag race or a burnout or whatever throughout this particular video. So you can check out some of the stuff that went on at the duct tape drags that you missed out on, unless you were there. Which I don't know. You guys, the two of you that watch, you could tell me if you were there or not. Anyways, it was a lot of fun. You got to come out and check it out if you haven't seen it. All right, here we go. Let's get going. I'm starting to think about wiring. So to start with, I'm just going to be hacking something together so I can start it. So I'm not worried about, the permanency of this or anything yet. And I got this trailer hitch wiring harness thing that I had for a Jeep Compass that I never ended up using. And so I think I'm going to use mostly this. I do have some heavier gauge, like 14 probably, gauge wire if I need something maybe on the ignition side. I don't know. We'll see. And then it also came with this little fuse thing so I can keep from burning things down. So got a little fuse holder. So between all of this stuff, I should be able to piece together enough wiring. I ordered a switch, push button switch for doing the ignition, ignition piece. Ignition switch, just a toggle. I'm going to use that. I use those all the time for different things, so I got a 5-pack of toggles, so I'll have a ignition switch and a key start, or what do you call that? I don't know. Whatever. So a push button so that it'll just start. So, and then I'm also thinking about, the more permanent stuff. Well, part of it too is this wiring harness here. This green wire is a resistance wire. So there's no ballast resistor. It's just this resistance wire provides what resistance you need for direct ignition to the coil so that you don't burn the points up. Have no idea what ohms that's supposed to be. And there's no, I don't know. I've tried looking to see if I could figure out what the ohms are, but I can't. I mean, I guess I could just measure resistance one end to the other of that, couldn't I? Did not think of that until this very second. So I might do that. I already ordered a ballast resistor though, so hopefully I got the right thing. All you need to do is reduce the voltage to between 6 and 8 volts. And then trying to figure out all of the pieces is a little harder because we had, there was a camper. The camper was set up for 12 volts as well. And I'm thinking that that's those two wires. And so I got 3 black wires to a battery and 1 red one. And the red one's still mounted to the fender there and that. So I'll take that off and use it for my test. I think that was positive and negative cables for the camper battery. But one of those black wires went to this, and that's why I cleaned that off. I actually thought, because it's nice, big, thick, and I do like that. They're nice, big, thick ones. This one appears to actually be the correct one. It is. I'm certain of it. And so there's, positives and negatives. The short one that goes there is thicker cable than this one, but this one is right because it most likely, and I don't recollect this for sure, but where else would it be? Most likely goes to the motor mount bolt here that goes to the frame. So that resolves that, I think. I'm just going to assume that's what those were for, which I now have two nice thick cables if I ever need them for anything. But so that's where I'm going to go. I will start putting that all together once I get the, I got, like I say, the push button, the toggle, and the ballast resistor that are actually going to be here first thing in the morning. I'm not sure how much work I'm going to get done, because that's the day I'm leaving to go to Tucson for the duct tape drags, but we'll see. I'm either thinking it over or overthinking it, but I'm kind of doubting what I was just saying about this being appropriate to being the frame, you know, having the frame be the ground. I think you really are supposed to have the ground on the block and then a like a grounding strap, like if I could do pretty easily with the motor mount perch and that motor mount, put a short grounding strap in there. But where the crap would it go then? Because the perch stud is too big. It wouldn't go over that. I'm wondering if maybe it was back here. I don't know. I mean, this whole thing has this curl built into it. Seems like it should be something like that, or was. I mean, I'd say overthinking it just from the standpoint it doesn't matter if I grounded it back here. I don't know what goes there. I think maybe something to do with the handbrake or something. But if I cleared a little spot off and I grounded it there, that's probably fine. And then I put a grounding strap in here. But I don't know, honestly. I'm probably going to do that because it's the simplest thing right now. I'm going to clear a spot on that. I can always repaint it if I need to. And ground it there for now. Yeah, with the fan and the crooked piece of iron, wasn't going to work. So I had these two pieces that were long enough to be cut. I mean, I hate cutting stuff for a temporary thing, but whatever. It's fine. It's still going to be usable. Plenty of good sized pieces here. So I'll just do that and then clamp these down probably with, a couple blocks of wood and some C-clamps on the ends or whatever. And then still ratchet strap the radiator in here when I'm ready, which, I'm nowhere near that. I can't help myself. We're from working ahead on different things because I'm kind of sort of stuck. I mean, I got little things, but I'm waiting on parts. So I'm going to use this piece of 1x. I'm going to have a lot of stuff just kind of dangling if I don't mount it to something. So I'm just going to use this board. I don't know how well it's going to work. I probably have to get a hole saw out for the switch and some different things, but I think it's going to be worth it to just have this board instead of everything just hanging off of something. So anyways, and then I got the other end of the trailer harness thing here, and I'll use that for this here, and then I can just plug that in and then run these to the different things like the coil and the whatever alternator, electrical things. You got the screw hole in this thing for the fuse and that kind of stuff. This is bad. I'm gonna have to get all new I thought this was at least a nice thick wire, but it got melted. I don't remember that. I don't remember even seeing that. So that's shot. I'm gonna have to get a new one of those. I may go ahead and make them. You know, get the ones with the permanent ends and stuff, good thick stuff, that kind of thing. So I'll be doing that anyway. But I'm gonna just wrap that burn up with some electrical tape so it doesn't arc on me while I'm testing stuff. But all right, well, this is the start of it. We'll see where it ends up. Hose. There it looks like. Beauty. I'll try and salvage the original clamps. My valve came with a bunch of Chinese writing on it. Ay, caramba. I'm gonna probably try and hide it upside down like that. I really need that bolted down first. Fine. That, or maybe I'll put the shut off way in the back or something. Or try to, I don't know, cover that up somehow. Big Chinese billboard sitting on top of my motor here. Ugh. This is all I could find right off for a blocker for this one, but it'll do. How much do I want? Up or down? Probably like that. Yeah, I need to get another clamp. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, got my switch. And I on off. Really? That's real simple. Why in the heck do they do it like that? Oh, because you do that. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, that's pretty cool. Anyways, I got them all mounted on here without wiring anything, so I'm sure I'll have to move all that, but that's kind of the concept anyway. I want something that I got everything on and can monitor and all that. So this didn't have a mount. I just drilled a hole in the back. So yeah, that ought to work. All right, that ought to do that one. So I think what I'm gonna try is clamping this here, which means I need to flip this around. So just like I thought, got to move stuff. But the rest of this is, I think, going to be in pretty decent line. But that puts me real close to the starter and all the routes that I got to go with wire. Okay, yeah, the clamps actually are gone. I didn't recall that right off, but I'm kind of remembering having to destroy those to get them off. It just looks like it still has clamps on it. Also trimmed that down a little bit. It's still a little longer than that, but it was keeping me from lining the holes up without having to shove on it, and I don't really want to do that. So anyways, gonna have to have new clamps on it. That's fine. Put my wire clip back on. It's gonna need new wire, but figured before I lose it, put that in there. I think I got a solution for the Chinese writing on it, but I don't have anything right now. I got some stuff, more stuff coming, or pending at least. Next week probably. I know I don't have to have that valve, but you know, it was there because it gets hot here and you want to be able to shut the water off of the heater core, and I definitely like that idea, so I'm gonna stick with that. So I see why this had like a 30-degree valve on it before, came up and then this way, so that you're coming back more with it. This will, you know, keep it shut off for now, and then when I go to put the full stuff on, what I'll probably do is just go the long side here, and once it straightens out back here, put this valve in, because I don't mind having to reach back and hit it. Plus it's a little gaudy out here. Put it back here where it's not seen as well. Ought to be fine. I don't know, usually they're right up here, and I don't know if that's for a reason or not, but anyways, we'll do something with it. The hose says made in China too. That I can put upside down. It's just this one line, so jeez, didn't think all that nonsense. I found on somebody else's pictures, I don't know what the heck I was seeing, but this doesn't have anything to do with holding some wire or whatever. This is for the return spring for the carburetor. So fortunately saw that on one. Saw one of the standoffs over here. I don't know. I hesitate to put those on yet, not knowing. I'm kind of wanting to I'm going to leave it loose still, because I'm still not to the point where I have to have it tight. And I'll keep thinking on whether I'm going to try and work those out. Still haven't gotten them cleaned up yet, so. Getting started on wiring. I got this other end of this harness. I think I'm going to use these short pieces to put all the stuff together on the board before I get into the longer stuff, and you know how it goes. As I suspected, I made some rearrangings going on here, so this is pretty much it, I think. So I mocked up a battery. That's an old dead battery with no way of getting juice to it, but just wanted to see how all that was going to lay out. And so I got my juice, runs through the fuse, goes to the switch, hit the switch, powers the starter switch, whatever, ignition switch, I guess. Push the button and it sends power to the resistor, one side of the resistor, but I needed raw power off of it, so I went from that directly to the solenoid, and then the other side through the resistor will send lower voltage through there, and then this is going to the starter. Sorry, let me finish this. So this so you got the white with the resisted power, and then the and then the unresisted goes to there. So then from that, we have the solenoid sending juice and the resisted power both going along this to the coil. So you have those two on the power side. So it gives an extra bump. It bypasses just the juice for the starter and gives it that extra bump on key start, on ignition, to the coil. And then I've got the ground I used for the plug just to be able to use those wires. And then I have the green that goes down to the ground. Okay. And then the starter, I'm going to just, do the thing here, which I can't find the cable for that. So I'm going to cannibalize this battery cable that I'm fairly sure was for the camper battery. And then all I got left really is the alternator, which I could fairly easily cannibalize the harness here, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But I'm pretty close, pretty close to having what I need here, I think. I'm learning on this. So what I got this doing with this one, going to the distributor, or I'm going to the coil, would have probably been done by this solenoid. So these are actually both solenoids. This is probably more technically a relay, but it's taking some of the job from that. And I think what happened, this was originally on there, and I left it on here and just taped it because I didn't want to lose track of it, but it was just grounded. So that's the, this one wasn't being used. And this one should be, yeah, I think I got this wired wrong. So this one goes over here. I got to go back through. Anyways, point is that there would normally be a wire off of here to give that extra jump over to the coil so that you didn't drop voltage when you turn the key. So now I'm effectively doing that with this, which I think I'm going to leave that way because I think there's supposed to be a diode so that it doesn't run voltage back to the starter after it's started and running. And I don't have anything. I don't know where that wire would have been. Let's say I'm missing that one for the juice, and then that's probably it. So I don't think the other one was used. So anyways, still working on it. Let's just put it that way. Oh, and so what I got to do, if I'm using that one, I need to jumper this to the whichever one S is, S and R, for the signal, because the signal now will be coming to this solenoid instead of going to that solenoid as far as to kick it on. I got it set up and I'm going to test it. So I've unplugged it so that I'm not supplying juice to anything. I still haven't actually done the starter cable yet. But I got the dead battery. So I've got this 12 volt simulator, which would be nice if I could just use that, but it doesn't have enough amps to actually crank with. But for testing the circuit, I can do that. So I got that all set up, and I got 12 volts running to the circuit. And all right, so let's shut that off. So we got everything. Everything's in there. I put a fuse in there. All right, so let's check this. We got 12 volts here. That's actually, I don't even have it at 12 volts. I got to turn it off. I got it just under 12 volts, but as long as I'm reading the same thing, it's fine. So pretty close, 12 volts. All right, so I got 12 volts there. Obviously, we're gonna have 12 volts here to this side of the switch. We don't have, shouldn't have anyway, 12 volts to the other side. Okay, we don't. Oh, yeah, let's check these. So we got no voltage, no voltage, no voltage. All right. Now, when we kick the switch on, We have voltage here. How am I supposed to get voltage? Oh, you know what? I don't have ground. I don't have this grounded. Okay, this would normally go to, you know, metal in the car, so or in the truck. I need to ground that. All right, I just ran the wire over to and pinched it behind the ground cable. Whoa, what's going on? What is this? What's going on here? It's just this case is grounded. I don't know. Let me take it back. I had this totally wrong. I was reading the schematic wrong. The schematic says, and it's just this generic schematic that I found that, you know, for basic wiring, you know, the real basic stuff here should be fairly simple. None of it was really quite making sense. I'm like, how do you get power through that to there to have that anyway? So when the schematic is talking about ignition switch, when it says ignition switch, it's not talking about this. It's talking about this exclusively for that. Then when it says starter, it's talking about that. Not that. So it doesn't even have the starter in the schematic. It's got all of this, and then your assumption is you're running the starter off of the solenoid. I don't really like the schematic. I'm probably going to try and find another one, but honestly, it doesn't really make that much difference. I get it now. That's the way that goes, and like I said, makes more sense. So hopefully this won't be destroyed too badly, but I'm going to have to redo it.
The Cummins truck bumps in, and the gas power truck's out first, but look at that Cummins in. Just going to absolutely break through the side. Let's also get a black one from the diesel, which goes 12-16 at 1.
But this time I think I actually understand it, not just got the schematic correct or whatever. I'm getting what's happening better. So let's just give this a try here, and we're gonna push this button, and we should see 12. Yeah, whatever the 12-ish that I'm getting. Same thing with this one. Nothing. Push the button. Uh-oh. Same thing with this one. Push the button, and I'm not getting. That's interesting. Here's a possibility. My battery eliminator runs 5 amp continuous and 7.5 peak, and these relays typically need between 8 and 10 amps, or I say need, run at a continuous 8 to 10 amps. So I don't know if maybe that's the problem. I need more amperage to get that to go, because this is definitely wired right now. It's not. I tried that very, very convenient side post battery. The only thing I had somewhat handy to see if maybe it was the amperage, and it is not. It's still not doing anything when I put signal to that one. So she's not working. That's just all there is to it. I can do essentially the same thing over here with this relay. And go ahead and replace this jumper in here and run the signal wire, this one, directly to the signal on the starter solenoid. Get rid of that and, you know, run that directly to the battery, and I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. And then I'll just have to run this to you know, do this directly to it from the battery, I guess. I don't know. I gotta redo this whole thing. Why can't that just work? I don't know. I gotta order a few other things. I'm gonna get just a whole big kit of connectors because I'm pretty much out, as you can see with my wiring. Got like 4 connectors on all the stuff, and the rest is just bare wire that I've twisted on. Mostly for the harness, but I might as well go ahead and get it now. And I'm gonna get the replacement solenoid. I like the concept of it. You know, it's supposed to help with heat soak on the starter and stuff like that, if you can use that separate relay. Plus, it's right there. It's real convenient to just jumper that once it's all on the truck and everything's put back together. Of course, it's easy to steal it that way too, but there are other ways to handle that. So I'm going to go ahead and order that. Here, let me get you in the shot.
Right now, and like the swords the sound of the 10-second one. Here they go. They're both in.
Got the new relay in. It's pretty close to identical. I wasn't really even shooting for that. I just wanted 4 terminals and meet the specifications, but it ends up being, I mean, even the bracket's not the same bracket, but it's pretty darn similar. Was able to use the same holes for the screws and stuff. So my concern has been, did I blow something up on this having wired it wrong? But I honestly can't see how. These terminals are non-polarity specific, so I had power here and I was just applying the power, you know, basically the signal to here. Here's probably preferable just for logic, but it doesn't matter. It should have just activated it and closed these, you know, closed the whole thing basically. You know, from an open to, you know, naturally open to closed by applying that. So it definitely wasn't any wiring that I did, but just in case, I'm just gonna check the circuit for continuity, and not worry about applying voltage to it, and just see. Okay, push the button. Okay, first don't, then push. Okay, continuity. All right, so yeah, I don't know exactly what I was thinking. Why, you know, this is 12 volt activated. So nothing's going to happen or should happen to close this switch until this has got 12 volts on it. So I don't know why, though. I do get connectivity. I do get continuity between these terminals when I push the switch. So I don't know. This is just weird, but I have 12 volts now. I had something between all these little connections that I have was not giving me any power, but I got 12 volts ish right in here. All right, I got 12 volts here and nothing here. Okay, nothing. Okay, switch on. Now I got 12 volts back there. All right. Nothing here. Switch it. I don't hear anything happening, but I got 12 volts there now. But I'm not getting 12 volts here. Why? Why wouldn't I get 12 volts? Well, now I'm back to thinking amperage. That is the main terminal and would have obviously the starter on that part. So I'm hoping that's going to be it. I'm going to get the battery again, borrow it out of the Chevy, and try it again. But you're going to have to tune in to the next episode because I haven't got time for it right now. I got other stuff going on today. It won't be till tomorrow before I can get to that. I'm going to go ahead and finish editing this one and put it out. So check back. It'll probably be Monday with a bunch of other fun stuff on it. So check back in.